Taking into account the importance of DayZ, a video game of survival and horror of the open world, which is currently in its final stages of development. Developed by Bohemia Interactive, it premiered initially on December 16, 2013. DayZ has been useful to give PUBGy ground to the battle royale genre and in the same way motivating so many of the survival genre. It is hard not to think that its developers Bohemia Interactive have arrived very late to their own party. DayZ emerged and saw light as a mod for Weapon 2, which was designed by Dean Rocket Hall. The gamer community and fan of the mods that formed around the severe military shooter of Bohemia Interactive quickly got the zombie-infested survival mod designed by Hall, and did not wait long until people started buying the mod Weapon 2 only to be able to play DayZ. They ventured into their servers to confirm and prove how long they managed to survive surrounded by the tenuous and relentless zombie apocalypse that the mod offered them. After all, the studio of Arma 2 realized that the content created by the player had taken on a life of its own, and they recruited Hall to turn DayZ into the game that would capture the attention of the gamer community. Everything happened in the year 2012. At the launch of the game for PC, at the end of last year 2018, a few weeks after the official launch of the video game, the incognita arose of what happened in these 6 years until the moment of its launch. The answer is, no, much and completely everything. Upon re-entering the game we can see that they have improved the visual effects, which if on the one hand are not as good as many could have expected in these 6 long years that was in development phases. Maybe, weighed down by high expectations, the project has encountered difficulties, something is predictable considering the long process of development. Over the years, a variety of new and more complex features were added with improved audio effects, a dynamic weather system, a refined survival simulation, and a series of corrections have been made on the map. Knowing this and taking into account the changes made by the developers, it does not seem that the game is very different. Nor was it the hope of radical changes of the game, but if you do not formalize points of why certain things, as the scenario on which DayZ has been based, or why you are there, or maybe something that investigates the cause the dead have risen from their graves, it would have been very good to add a bit of emotion to the plot, plus it would also have marked a great and positive difference from what was the last version of the game and what happened more than half a decade in early access, in phases of development. If DayZ was supposed to be a blank canvas for the players to shape their own adventure, we believe that an individual campaign with cinematographic micros would not make sense, but leaving so much unturned still seems like a blunder. It almost comes out clean despite not having a definite global narrative in the background, creating stories supported by players having a zombie apocalypse in the background to give them weight and importance, that you do not play to win, but to survive something else. At the moment when the video game developed by Bohemia Interactive would have the power to create moments that captivate the players. Knowing this point, many players go beyond surviving between the debris and the game, which makes the game more of an experience based on free exploration and the construction of bases by teams that move on to leave behind survival as principle. And the zombies that seem so awesome for the newest players are rather a small annoyance or difficulty for players who organize themselves to work collaboratively. Players should be attentive to their levels of hunger and thirst, should eat and drink and maintain the greatest possible warmth. It may be a little harder to say than to do it, because this DayZ is not PUBG and has no empty buildings full of spoils and rewards to fight for. A simple lack of useful resources with which to make and have to rummage to catch the necessary items. With these it is also possible that we have to steal a mate to get us these, for his port, if he does not think about it first. The tension that I create the encounter of players in games of open world in general is of the most exciting things of these, because each player, in the personal thing, has more skill than others. Once established and organized things well, a single hair is easy prey for a pack of zombies that can be on your trail. And although, in order to enjoy DayZ, you would need at least one or even more friends to play with, Unless you like role-playing games.